Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the McKinley High School color guard and the posting of the colors.
Colors, hold! Requesting permission to post the colors.
Please post.
Post!
applause to the Buffalo Academy of Visual and Performing Arts Vocal Symphony, led by Mrs. Karen Saxon. Please be seated.
Ready, face, forward, march.
Wasn't that awesome? Another round of applause for McKinley High School Color Guard led by Sergeant Joseph Dugan. Thank you so much. Good morning. We have a tremendous day outlined for you today as we begin to have some serious conversations related to culturally responsive teaching and how we best serve the diverse students that we serve each and every day. I want to first welcome and say thank you for being here to our Regent, Dr. Catherine Fisher Collins. Let's welcome her this morning. Welcome to our esteemed Regent, also our esteemed Board of Education members. Let's give them a round of applause. Our Superintendent, Dr. Kreiner Cash, our Chief Academic Officer, Ann Botticelli, our Academy members, community partners, esteemed scholar presenters today, our principals who are leading the charge in our buildings. Let's give them a round of applause. Our central office staff who are supporting the work of the schools each day, teachers, parents, and students. Please welcome to the first Urban Forum of the Buffalo Public Schools. Under the guidance of Superintendent Cash, the Division of Curriculum Assessment and Instruction is committed to developing an inclusive curriculum while lifting every voice. It is our greatest hope and expectation that today you will also lift your voice and also truly hear the voices of others as an active participant and provide feedback and ideas to support us in moving the culturally responsive teaching work of the district forward. This is indeed a momentous occasion and a unique opportunity where we will be able to have an open and shared dialogue related to how we best address the diverse needs of students in our schools. We will have an opportunity to discuss the intersection of race, language, and culture as related to student achievement. And this will be a discussion that has not been held at this level before. The purpose of this urban forum is to initiate honest conversations, provide professional learning opportunity, and to discuss best practices that support the academic achievement of all Buffalo Public City School District students. We sincerely appreciate your participation today, and we thank our esteemed scholars who are coming from all over our city as our partners, and you can see all of those names in our program, and everyone for partnering with the Buffalo Public Schools in this very important work. I will now take an opportunity to introduce our superintendent. On the 26th of August 2015, Buffalo Board of Education members unanimously voted to appoint Dr. Kreiner Cash to serve as superintendent of the Buffalo Public Schools and second largest and most diverse school district in New York State. A lifelong change agent and advocate for high quality education for all children, Dr. Cash brings with him over 20 years of executive leadership experience in education. He has been responsible for successful outcomes for children as superintendent of schools in Memphis, Tennessee, and Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts. He also served as Chief Accountability and Systems system-wide performance for the Miami-Dade County Public Schools in Miami, Florida, where he and his staff designed and developed a leading-edge human capital performance management system for the fourth largest school district in the country. He earned a Doctor of Education degree in Cultural Diversity and Curriculum Reform from the University of Massachusetts, Amherst, an MA in Administration and Policy Analysis from Stanford University, and a BA in Political Science from Princeton University. Dr. Cash emphasizes the importance of releasing the potential in each child and encourages administrators to set their own high goals and standards for student achievement, to be caring, and to use data as a powerful tool in intervention and guidance. Dr. Cash holds membership in prestigious educational and civic organizations. He has earned numerous honors and awards from a wide variety of constituents and stakeholders and delivered keynote addresses all over the world. He considers being married to his beloved wife, Lisa, for 34 years to be his most treasured accomplishment. Lisa passed away in September 2011. They have 3 fine sons, Kofi, 37, Asil, 36, and Jade, 34, and 3 beautiful grandchildren, Tyson Wolf, 3.5 years old, Harper Lisa, 3 years old, and Cameron Eagle, 1.5 years old. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together, and please let's give a warm welcome to our superintendent, Dr. Cash.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Fatima Morrell. I'm really, really proud of Dr. Morrell. She has accomplished almost single-handedly. Certainly she had a lot of help. But let's give her a big round of applause. The first urban education forum for the Buffalo Public Schools. This is a big deal, everyone, and I'm really proud of you, Fatima, and all of the staff. Let me also take a moment to welcome 2 of our board members that I see that are here. If there are any others, please stand so that I can get you to recognize you as well. Dr. Teresa Harris-Teague is here. Dr. Harris-Teague, always glad to have you. And Dr. Barbara Neverco is here. Let me just take a few moments because we have a keynote and a really wonderful program for you today. I just want to set the context, as Dr. Morrell has begun to do. I want to welcome all of you. We're glad you're here. But you know, this issue of culturally responsive teaching has been an issue for as long as I can remember in American public education. We didn't always call it that, but it's always been an issue because we have one of the most diverse countries in the world when it comes to a free and comprehensive public education. So you always need to continue to look at the assets that your children are bringing to school in order to teach them most effectively. Now we know that our best teachers and our best principals and staff have always been sensitive to the children's cultural backgrounds, their ethnic backgrounds, their religious backgrounds, and the socioeconomic status that they come from. Our best educators understand that those are assets more than they are aspects to be marginalized. And so we commend them for that. But there's still a lot of work to do here in Buffalo. We can do even more. And that's the purpose of this forum. I'm really excited and want to hear from the students. They'll tell you what you really need to do in order to be most responsive to them. And then we want to be in our sessions hearing from the professionals who have studied this issue for a long time and who bring us best practices, both on what we should be doing and could be doing better, and what we already are doing that's really, really good that we should continue to do. So, we have now 10 major cultures, speaking languages, representing many, many parts of the world. 10. And that population is growing. It is up to close to 5,000, heading towards 6,000 students. Many of those migrants and refugees, immigrants are coming every day to our city. And so this forum is timely in that regard. But we also have a population that has, for the large and most part, been in poverty for far too long here in our great city. And that's the African American population. And that population we need to also understand, because that represents over half of our students in the Buffalo public schools. And then, of course, we have a long-standing and rich tradition in the Hispanic community. And that culture has to be understood in order to grow the talent that resides within the children in that population. And they represent about 20% of our population. And of course, white students. White students aren't one monolithic group. They have a variety of ethnic cultures within that group and SES backgrounds. And we need to understand and appreciate the array of talents and richness that come to school from those ethnicities as well. That's Buffalo. That's who we are. And if our young people are to compete and be successful in the many, many jobs that are coming to this region as we experience this economic renaissance over the next decade and more, then we will have to be on our A game every day so that they can reach their full potential. And that's what this is about as well. So I'm very, very pleased, very proud of our staff and all of you for helping us in this work. Today is going to be a terrific day. So, with that context established, and our beautiful children are going to be the stars today. They'll be here shortly. Let me introduce our keynote speaker for the day. It's really a great privilege to do so. Catherine Fisher Collins was elected by a joint session of the New York State Legislature on March 10, 2015, to the Board of Regents for a 5-year term representing the 8th Judicial District. Regent Catherine Fisher Collins' educational background includes undergraduate degrees from Trocaire College in nursing and a Bachelor of Science degree from State University College in Vocational Technical Education. She also has an earned doctorate degree from the State University of New York at Buffalo in Education Administration. From the same institution, she also received her master's degree in Allied Health Education and Curriculum Development, graduated from the School of Nursing in the Nurse Practitioners Program. Regent Collins holds certification in health occupations and junior college teaching. Dr. Collins is a respected author of over 13 published books. In 2011, she launched the Women's Health radio show that airs on WWWS 1400 AM every other Saturday with a focus on women's health issues and wellness. Dr. Collins has also held positions in healthcare and education administration, among them school nurse, practical nurse instructor, director of the Registered Nursing Program. Dr. Collins has received over 50 awards and honors, which include Western New York Women's Hall of Fame, SUNY Outstanding Faculty Fellow, honors from the governors of New Jersey, on and on and on. Regent Collins is currently an associate professor at SUNY Empire State College. She has 2 children, Dr. Clyde A. Collins, a gastroenterologist, and Mrs. Laura Harris, a former BPS school administrator. Would everyone join me in welcoming our regent, Dr. Catherine Collins.
Dr. Cash, for those kind words of welcome. Good morning, and thank you so much for asking me to speak with you today on a critical topic. I was elected, as Dr. Cash said, to the Board of Regents last March, so I've only served on the board for just about 1 year. But I've spent the better part of my life working for the success of all New York State students, from pre-K all the way through graduate school. As I'm sure you all know, it's been a tumultuous year in education here in New York State, to say the least. My colleagues on the Board of Regents and I have listened to parents, to teachers, and the public, and we've made significant changes in response. We've made changes to the standards, the curriculum, the assessment, and evaluations. And we will continue to listen and to make adjustments along the way. That's what the Regents and the State Education Department are supposed to do, and is what we will do. Like everyone in this room, I am driven by my desire to improve our children's chances for success in life. And we know that the surest way to achieve that success is by ensuring they all receive a quality education. When one child receives a better education than another simply because of his or her zip code, we are destined to fail as a society. And that's what I'd like to speak about today, and a few other items of interest that you may like to hear about. But I'd like to first tell you a little bit about myself, for those of you who don't know me. I was born and raised in Buffalo, New York. I attended Buffalo Public School. My first school was School 47, a wonderful school. My high school was Lafayette High School. Go Lafayette, we're in Bennett. We were always competing with Bennett. However, I want to tell you a little bit about the fact that what's shaping my educational experiences. And those experiences comes from the fact that in my classrooms at Lafayette High School, there were 3 major languages that were spoken: English, Italian, and Polish. When I served on the Buffalo School Board, that particular school had 65 different languages. And here recently, we were told that there were 45 different languages. So people who were in my classroom came from my neighborhoods, but now the people from around the world are in those classrooms, and we have to accommodate them as well. I'm so interested in this topic because there's been many approaches to trying to deal with the fact that we need to have a curriculum that represents the districts, not only here in Buffalo, but throughout the entire state. And I have the pleasure of representing 8 counties of Western New York. And that doesn't mean that they should not have the same kind of culturally sensitive curriculum for all of their students as well. Today, we are trying to open some of the pathways to discuss these very critical issues. Before I started writing the presentation that I have for you today, I asked about the Amistad Commission. The Amistad Commission was, I guess, about 5 or 6 years ago. People began to talk about the fact that we need to make our curriculum very culturally sensitive, and that we wanted this commission to come up with some recommendations. And those recommendations we have yet to hear. I understand that they will be meeting soon to come up with a report. One of the critical pieces of that particular commission that I am extremely concerned about is that it was not within the State Education Department. It was under the state, the Secretary of State, that department. And it should have been in the State Education Department, number 1, if we're going to make changes to curriculum. So we will have a report, not hopefully in the next few weeks. There are many challenges that our students face, and we need to make sure that we have the pieces to educate them in place all the time. And today we're going to lift every one of you, like every one of you. I have been driven to the desire to help with the education of these children. And as long as I am sitting on the Buffalo School Board, I've been there, and I have to change hats so many times that sometimes I get myself tangled up in where I am and what I'm talking about. My first item of business as a region has been to listen to parents, teachers, principals, administrators, school board members, superintendents, and to the community, and to the business community, and also to my hairdresser. Because everyone has an opinion about education. And the men in here, I'm sure your barbers are talking to you. Every time you read something in the paper, someone has an opinion. And so we want to listen to them. I'll engage with anyone who has something to say about education. Everyone's voice should be heard and considered. Today's conference theme, Lift Every Voice, has opened another important voice sharing pathway for us to share our voices. I know that Mr. Brandy and Dr. Morrell and the Planning Committee have worked very hard to give you a program that you will hear many voices. It's why I'm so thrilled to be here to speak with you today and to hear what's on your mind. So much has changed since you and I were growing up. The students who are here in class, in our classrooms, are not from the neighborhoods that I grew up in, but from many, many neighborhoods from around the world. There has always been issues in our cities and across our country. They have existed for many, many years. They even exist now. They bring many distractions to our classrooms, like Instagram, like cyberbullying, like texting, like Facebook. These are many of the issues that have come to our classrooms, and we have to make sure that we accommodate our students and give them the right kind of information to deal with these issues. It's a whole new world that's in constant flux, one we never could have imagined just a few years ago. And that's why a supportive home environment is very important. And that's why schools and school districts have to engage as partners with parents. And while we've always known about the importance of family engagement, it has been overlooked far too long as a tool for driving school improvement. So we will change that going forward. To begin with, schools and school districts must play a bigger role in promoting this engagement. They have to systemically include family engagement as a core element of their improvement strategies from cradle to career. And of course, we're all in it together. Parents, educators, and administrators all share the responsibility for implementing and promoting this engagement. From the state's perspective, it means we have to do a better job of allocating resources to schools to ensure that there is significant oversight, building capacity, quality control in place to support effective family engagement, policies and practices at all school levels. We will work to do just that. And since I mentioned resources, let's talk a little bit about the state funding for our schools. I know that every one of you has the very same commitment and burning desire that the Regents and I do, to make certain that every child, every one of them has equal access to quality education. It truly is a civil rights struggle of our time. While Brown versus the Board of Education may have ended legal segregation in our school, it certainly did not end inequality in unjust way we fund those schools, or the results that are so obvious in our high school graduation rates and other measures of student achievement. But the Regents and I can't do it alone. The forces that want to preserve the status quo are powerful. They're too powerful for us to move unless we make our voices heard. They're too powerful for us to move without an overwhelming groundswell of support from the good people of the state of New York. Our elected leaders must hear our cry for equality and justice for our children. So as the legislature and the governor continues to work on the state budget, which is due just about a few weeks from now on April 1st, I urge all of you, ask them, beseech them to adopt the Regent's state aid proposal, which includes $2.4 billion increase state aid. I have requested following the adoption of the budget, I'd like to know how much each one of the districts in the 8-county area is receiving from that budget. I'm talking about fairly distributing the resources from the state. And then I'd like to know just how much is being spent by districts on those schools which are the most needy schools in their districts. So we're going to make sure, and I'm going to make sure, that we get the monies in upstate New York like everyone else in this state. But I want to make sure that I have the numbers, so when I go to the districts and say, look, there's a whole list of schools here that you have that have problems, how are you allocating those resources? So I'm looking for fair distribution of resources. You know, there's no secret that my daughter worked for a number of years in the school district, and I served on the Buffalo School Board. So during those terms, I heard from teachers, from administrators, you know, you give us the money, we bring our scores up, and then you start taking my reading coach. You give me another classroom of special needs and special education kids, but you take 3 of my teaching assistants. How do you expect me to maintain what I've worked so hard to get done for this district and for these students? We have to think about sustainability. We have schools out here that needs the resources, and those state resources are going to come to this district. But we want you to also think about, once we get you to that level, let's keep you there. Stop taking your teachers. Stop taking your resources. One of the things, and I praise our governor for this, because I thought it was disgraceful when I became a Buffalo School Board member that teachers had to take money out of their pocket to buy pencils and paper and all. I mean, it was just disgraceful. That he's proposing $200 as a tax incentive for teachers who spend money out of their own pockets. But I'm glad to hear that other people know about this. It's a travesty for teachers to, especially when we haven't had a contract, and I don't want to go there, but when we haven't had a contract and when we haven't had raises for our teachers. Certainly I'm concerned about that, and they're taking money out of their pockets, but I know Dr. Cash is working on that as well, and our school board members are here, because I certainly brought it up at the school board meetings that I was there. And so that extra funding would use to drive resources to children in schools and school districts with the greatest needs. More than that, we're going to add resources to fund critical programs like early childhood education, multiple pathways to graduation, and I know you want to hear about that, all districts. Professional development for educators, and I'm hoping that in our district that we make sure our teaching assistants are part of that professional development. They're sitting in the classrooms, they're working with our students, they need as much professional development as our teachers. We have to think about them as well. And support English language learners and family and community engagement. In other words, if adopted, the Regent State Budget proposal will help lift our children in greatest need. Again, I urge all of you to make your voices heard and to help make this a reality. But you know, it's not just about funding, it's also about making sure our schools have place for culturally responsive structure and instructional strategies that leads to enhanced classroom practices, practices that support the academic achievement of the Buffalo City School District students, practices that will hopefully become a model for school districts throughout the state. That's the goal of this conference, and I really can't imagine a more important goal. When students, whether African American, Hispanic, or newly arrived immigrants, feel excluded from what's being taught, they begin to feel like the curriculum is irrelevant and meaningless. So we need to develop and implement a curricula and resources that are culturally relevant to them. And that is what we will strive to do, and we will try to keep them engaged in learning by doing just that. That means, for example, making sure that the contributions of African Americans are better represented in our history books, both our U.S. history books, our state books, New York State history books, and any other books that we can get into the classrooms. I want to tell you one thing about something that was very heartfelt for me. How many of you in here like potato chips? Everybody likes potato chips. The thing is that you're at a party and someone puts a bowl of potato chips in front of you, you say, oh, please eat those, because you know you're going to be in those potato chips. Mr. Crumb, an African-American male, invented the potato chip. I haven't looked at a potato chip differently since I've learned that fact. An African-American male, and I've never heard of that, not during the time that I was in the public school system. When I was teaching African American history at Empire State College, where I work, I would ask my students, how many of you have had African American history in your classrooms? And they said, most of my students are 30 and older. And they said, no, we have not had anything dealing with culture except slavery. And every time slavery was brought up in our classrooms, I wanted to go under the table. Because I left our classroom thinking that I was the cause of slavery. I can't even imagine someone leaving a classroom thinking that they were the cause of slavery. Well, they did. And they were very, very concerned about the fact that their children needs to have the information that they need. And we can do this, and as we look for other ways of measuring students' achievement, we need to make sure that we assign selections from the great novelists and writers like Langston Hughes, Du Bois, Morrison, Angelo, Baldwin, Alex Haley, and Alice Walker, and I could go on and on. I could go on and on with many individuals from the African American culture. There's one more thing I'd like to mention before I wrap up. The Regents Initiative aimed at leveling the playing field. Late last year, the board established a very important new task force. We call it the Work Group to Improve Outcomes for Boys and Young Men of Color. We have two other people who's here in the audience that is on that work group. Mrs. Barton and our superintendent. I had the opportunity to serve on one of the 5 major objectives that we had. One of them was dealing with parents. And out of that parent workshop came the recommendation that we have an Office of Community and Parent Engagement. This is an office within state ed. We have submitted a request for $50 million so that we can level the playing field for those young men of color. And that's important. Also, what's important is to have an office where our parents can call and ask questions about many topics. we were at a regents meeting and there was a parent there in Albany looking for one of the regents because she needed to have a question answered about her child in school. I ended up with so many calls from parents. We need to have, I can't imagine why we did not have an office that works with districts to make sure that we have a parent room, that we have parent academies where we can help our parents to understand what does it really mean to opt out? What does it really mean? Now, in my classroom, you can't opt out, okay? In college, you can't opt out. So what does that mean for our students? What does it mean for them to be tested along the way? In fact, and I'll tell you a little story, I just came back from Texas where I'm learning a lot about Texas education. My grandson came home and he asked his mom and I, he said, can you die from thinking so hard? 4 hours he spent reading and taking the test. 4 hours. He thought that he was going to die. He really was concerned about that, but he came home and he talked to me and he talked to his mother. Can you imagine how many children go home and they don't have a parent there to talk to about these things? You know, they're just learning about death. He's 9, 3rd grade, honor student. But he's concerned about thinking so hard. And you know, our parents are so important to us in terms of making sure that we have the right information going to them so they can send it right through to their children. They're extremely important, and we need to continue to look at that and to try to make sure that the $50 million that we get will help. The things that I think that are most important for us today is to learn from these outstanding educators we have here in the audience. Those individuals are going to work on giving you information and how to incorporate it into the curriculum. Our charge is to develop, for our parents, propose policies that will help right the inequalities that have hampered the educational opportunities and ultimately the life opportunities for boys and young men of color. That's so important for us, and we need to go into the monies and make sure that we have enough monies in our districts, and there are plenty of programs that we can take care of. I have very high hopes for this group, and I will continue to advocate for funding and policies that will turn our visions into equal educational opportunities for all and make them a reality. We know why the gaps in achievement exist. Some communities have enough resources to educate their children to high standards. Many don't, and the performance reflects this. These are not excuses, they are facts. Poverty brings with it problems that must be overcome by the educational system. These realities affect all of us, and we have a stake in fixing them. When we look at our children in cities, they are more likely to be poor, more likely to be children of color, more likely to be just learning English. They are more likely to encounter novice teachers, old buildings, violent surroundings. We are about building a just society. But in these facts, we see injustice. And our major injustice across this country has been Flint, Michigan, a travesty. Can you imagine what those children are going to bring to the classroom in Flint, Michigan? We all know what lead does to your body. They're going to spend lots of money in Flint, Michigan, trying to help those children. We don't want to see that happen in our state. Why is it so critical that all students meet high standards and graduate high school, prepared for the next phase of their life? When some are excluded, all of us ultimately suffer. In many ways, we suffer from our failure to meet America's commitment to providing opportunities for all, We suffer from competition with others who are educated, their students to a higher standard. We suffer from unqualified workforce. We suffer from a lagging economy. And ultimately, we suffer from a society in great distress. Only when the gaps are eliminated will our state have the resources in which our economic future depends. Public education is a matter of national security and should be given the same attention that the armed forces are given. Only then will all New York State students have the choice in life that they deserve. We should make sure that when we leave here, that we take away with us the need to be inclusive in everything that we do. This country is changing. The complexion of this country is changing. And I won't talk about the presidential election. I just want you to pay close attention to the messages that are coming out of the individual who wants to lead our country. We want to be inclusive. We want to make sure that everyone feels good when they leave all of our public schools. And I thank you this morning for your courteous attention. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for your response to my remarks. Of course, I was trying to make sure that I covered as much as I possibly could within the time frame, because I know that you want to hear from our students. They're the ones who are getting the treatment that we're giving them in each classroom. And so we want to hear if our treatment is working. And I'm using treatment like in medicine. We treat you for the cold. We want the cold to get better. So we want to know how our students are doing, if the treatment is working.
Come on, let's welcome our distinguished student panelists today. And our supervisor of mathematics, Ms. Daphne Bell, who has been instrumental in facilitating the student panelists, as well as Mr. Brandy. Let's give another round of applause to our Regent, Dr. Patrick Collins, and our superintendent for their words of wisdom today. Thank you. At this time, I would like to give a brief description of the purpose of the student panel and why we chose the student panel. We actually crafted our student panel off of the model of the Conference of Great City Schools. We saw a student panel there in San Francisco this summer, and we really thought that listening to the voices of those students really gave us a lot of great ideas about the needs of today, the current needs. We think we know everything about our students, and they are generations away from us, and we do not know everything. We need to hear their voices because in many respects, they can best tell us what the needs are. And so Daphne will present. It is important for us to understand their realities and their lived experiences in order to serve them. We're going to ask real questions today, and we want the students to be honest in their answers. We want you to prepare your minds and your hearts to hear the true experiences and to receive their answers. We want to challenge ourselves to be responsive to the many cultures represented in our schools and in our community. The student voice is one of the most critical voices in moving this work forward. Again, let's welcome our panel, and Daphne Bell will now introduce them.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Daphne Bell, and I am the supervisor of mathematics. As a member of the Culturally Responsive Teaching Committee, Dr. Morrell asked Mr. Brandy and I to assemble a small group of high school students to talk on their experiences in the Buffalo Public School District, as well as in their communities. I am so fortunate to introduce to you this dynamic group of young men and women as the Urban Forum's 2016 student panel. Students, please stand when I say your name. First, Josue Cruz. Josue is a senior at Riverside High School. He also attended Frank A. Seguida School number 30. His favorite subject is English Language Arts, and he plans to attend college and major in communications. Josue. Shania Crump. Shania is a senior and salutatorian at Bennett High School. She plans to pursue a career as a professional athlete in either volleyball or basketball and attend college for physical therapy. Shania. Lou. B is a senior and valedictorian at McKinley High School. He also attended International School number 45. His favorite subject is physics, and he plans to attend college for mechanical engineering. Amir Dunstan. Amir is a senior at Leonardo da Vinci High School. He also attended Highgate Heights, School number 80. He is the current student representative on the Buffalo Board of Education. His favorite subject is math. He plans to own a business and become a successful entrepreneur, and he would like me to tell you that he will be attending Howard University in the fall. Naja Odunsi. Naja is a junior at Middle Early College High School. She also attended Lydia T. Wright School number 89. Her favorite subject is U.S. history, and she plans to pursue a career as a psychologist. Ryan Langhorn. Ryan is a senior at City Honors. His favorite subject is social studies. He also attended Makowski School number 99, and he plans to pursue a career in sports management. Eugene Steele. Eugene is a senior at Bennett High School. He also attended Early Childhood Center School number 82 in North Park Middle School. His favorite subject is science, and he plans to attend college for business management. Dariana Martinez. Dariana is a senior at Riverside High School. Her favorite subject is social studies, and she plans to pursue a career in the medical field. And finally, Khadija Hussein. Khadija is a senior at International Preparatory School. She also attended School 6 and Stanley Mikowski, number 99. Her favorite subject is U.S. history, and she plans to attend college for biomedical engineering. Ladies and gentlemen, your student panel.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. Awesome job. Thank you, students. And now it is time for us to introduce our esteemed moderator, Miss Claudine Ewing. Claudine Ewing is a graduate of Buffalo Academy of Visual and Performing Arts High School. She went on to graduate with honors from the State University of New York at Buffalo with a degree in broadcast journalism. Claudine is currently a WGRZ Channel 2 news reporter who is known for digging deep and asking tough questions. She has been a panelist on numerous political debates, asking firm questions of candidates for Congress, mayor, and county executive. Claudine's alma mater, Buffalo Academy for the Visual and Performing Arts, awarded her with their annual Excellence in Broadcasting Award. She was honored with Omega Psi Phi Fraternity's Outstanding Community Service Award in 2013. Medaille College's Department of Communications awarded Claudine as Reporter of the Year in Television. We are honored to have her today as the student panel moderator for our first ever Buffalo Public Schools Urban Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, Claudine.
So I'm Mike, so you should be able to hear me fine, so I don't have to use this microphone. Can you all hear me? Yeah. Well, it's nice to be here. It's nice to be back within the Buffalo Public Schools. Whenever there's something good to do on the Buffalo Public Schools, I am all about it because there is a lot of good going on. Hello, students. You have microphones there, so you are encouraged to speak directly into the microphone when it's time for you to answer a question, so feel free. This is going to be a raw discussion. We want you to be real. We want you to be upfront. We don't want you to hold back. These are the people who want to hear you, and it's all about you today. So we're going to open up the forum. We're going to go till about 11 o'clock. I understand that if there are questions from the audience, there will be some note cards that you can fill out, and then we will take your questions and ask them as we wrap up. So we're talking about racial issues. We're talking about differences. We're talking about being accepted and your experiences here within the Buffalo schools. So first of all, what is it like to be a student of color in the Buffalo Public Schools? If we can start here and work our way down. And there's the microphone. Take the mic and speak directly into it. The mic on? Very good.
Well, going to an international prep school and I prep, it's easy for me to be a student of color because it's a school where it's diverse and I don't have to feel like I'm the only person that's me and who I am. There's a lot of people that's like me and a lot of different cultures from around, so it's okay for me to go to a school like that.
I go to Riverside High School. It's a pretty diverse school, you can say. It's not difficult at all to feel comfortable. I fit right in.
Hi everyone, I attend Penn High School in Eugene Hill. I feel like it's very challenging being a black male in Buffalo Public Schools. But I feel like being a black male around all my peers kind of moves me to the game.
Hi, I'm Brian Link. I go to City Honors.
Hold the mic up just a little bit closer.
I feel as though being at City Honors when the African American population is relatively low compared to other schools, it's a little uncomfortable, but the great thing about it is everyone has an equal opportunity, and that's what I think Buffalo Public Schools has strived to pretty much preach, and I congratulate them.
Well, I go to Middle College High School, and we're taught that we're close-knit family. So being at Middle Early, we are mostly a family. So when it's comfortable to be there and to talk about problems because we're like a family. So yeah.
Hi, my name is Amir Dunston, and I'm a senior at Leonardo da Vinci High School. Being a student of color in the Buffalo Public Schools is challenging because the history aspect of it, in the history textbooks, we are not exposed to all the African and African American history. So if you want to further be enlightened about your culture, you have to reach out to outside resources.
Curie High School is great, actually. It's very diverse, but for Asians, the population is very low. But other than that, we have equal opportunity. It's great. That's what Curie High School is all about.
I go to Bennett High School. I feel as though being a student of color, the vast majority of students are African American, so I feel comfortable. It's not a problem.
I go to Riverside. I believe it's a challenge to be a person of color in Buffalo Public Schools, but also believe there's some good things about it.
Let's follow up on what you just said. Why is it a challenge?
I believe it's a challenge because there's many Hispanics throughout Buffalo Public Schools, and many of us do not know what's through our background. Like many of us don't learn what's all about us, or what we do best.
And so how does that impact you as a student, as you're trying to learn day to day?
I believe I know many things about Americans, African Americans, but I don't believe I know more about Hispanics.
So that's interesting for the educators in the audience to hear. So as we move on, let's talk about, some say it's a problem. Is it a problem? Do you all perceive it as a problem? Go ahead.
Race is a problem because when you have a group of students that are being oppressed, you lower their self-esteem. As an instructor and educator, you're supposed to encourage your students to be the best that they can be and to live up to their fullest potential. So everyone should integrate and become more familiar with one another and understand that there's distinct cultures and have that background so that we can better cooperate with each other for a better future.
I feel that race is a problem because I feel like there's always a constant competition between races.
Do any other students feel that way? Or do you want to weigh in on that?
I believe we're all labeled. I know there's many races, but many races label each other. I think it's more of how she said it's a competition. I don't believe it's a competition. I think we're all one and we're all equal as a human.
I believe it is a competition because, whether it's one race or another, we're always striving to do better than the other race. Whether we admit it or not, it is like that. We always strive, they're doing good, we must do better, and that's how everybody's outlook is on it.
That's interesting. Did you have a comment on that? And you can take the microphone right off the stand and hold it right up to your mouth. That's fine.
I think race is a problem
Because being who I am, I know a lot of people look at me and just judge me right away by my headscarf or the way I'm dressed. Like, for example, every time when it gets to, it's the beginning of the school year, 9/11, because of my headscarf, people look at me and call me a terrorist and make jokes out of it, even though they know it's not a joke. So, because of race, people identify us as something that someone that has to do with our race did, but they identify the whole race and blame the whole culture or religion, I guess.
But does that impact your learning? Does that affect you? Have your teachers talked to you that way? Or is it just students?
I never had a teacher that identified me like that. It's just students. And most of the time, they make it as a joke, but that shouldn't be a joke.
So how do you feel when it happens? If it's happening during the day, during the class, at any point do you drop your head? You don't want to learn that day? You just want to give up?
Well, of course I don't like it. Like, it affects me, but I was taught to never give up. Like, I just wear it off, you know?
So let's talk a little bit about what's happening in the world today. We all know there's a presidential election that's going to be coming up. Are people talking about the things that are happening in the world? Are they talking about Donald Trump? Are they talking about Hillary Clinton? What are you all hearing? And how does it impact you? We'll start.
In my personal experience, I would say no. I think a problem with most of the Buffalo Public Schools teachers is that it's not really, we don't really talk about current events. So kids today really don't know how to communicate their problems or how they feel about certain situations because we don't talk about it. Like, we should take time out of the day to talk about current events. Like the Trayvon Martins, like Black Lives Matter, like whatever's going on with Hispanic community. Like how Muslims are prescribed because, or how they are shown to be on media because of ISIS. It's just, we don't know how to communicate, so this is why we get people who joke around when they show in about it. We just don't know how to communicate with each other.
So these are topics that are happening in the world that are impacting you at home when you leave school. Do all of you believe that current events are not being discussed?
I believe that we as students are kind of oblivious to current events. We only go off of what we're hearing, you know, from other people, what we're seeing on social media. We're not learning about what is actually happening. As of the situation with Donald Trump running for president, due to social media and other sources, I've only heard all of the bad aspects when it comes to Donald Trump. I have no idea what his actual intentions are. I'm just hearing that he's a racist and his intentions are not for the best and they won't suit us, but I'm oblivious to the good things he may have in mind because we don't learn about it in school.
Let's start from the far end.
Well, actually, here in high school, my AP government teacher, he does inform us about current events, and it's a huge topic in our classes.
And what's the response like in the classroom? Is it a spirited discussion? Are people really into it?
Yeah, we're really into it, and I don't really keep up to date with current events, so it really informs me and it's really great.
Next to you.
I believe we learn more about Hitler and what happened in all the past, but we're not learning about what can happen if Trump becomes president. We're not learning about what are the actual actions and what's really going to happen if Trump really wins the election. That's what I believe.
Bilu, what do you think?
In my AP politics class, we talked about the current event right now. Every day, every morning, we discuss our opinions on the president candidates, and we pretty much vote like Bernie Sanders, unlike Donald Trump, because we think he's racist, and I don't think he's a great president. That's all we heard in class, and what we saw on social media, where he dealt with the protesters, was not pretty pleasant to other people. So we talked about a lot of current events in AP politics.
Amir?
I would say it depends on the teacher. Some teachers are willing to talk about current events and some aren't. So it depends on the teacher whether or not the students will hear about current events.
My U.S. teacher informs us every time we get into her class so that we're not oblivious to the fact of who could be president, and if one of the candidates were to be president, how would it impact us as Americans? We have daily discussions about it so that we're informed and we can have more of an opinion about who would better benefit us as Americans, and especially who would impact the African American culture and who would benefit us.
Ryan, what about Black Lives Matter? Has it been discussed?
No, in my social studies classes, I haven't discussed Black Lives Matter. I wouldn't blame so much the teachers. I didn't mean to say it like that in terms of anything, but what I would say is there's not like a comfortability to talk about these things. Like when I go down the hallway through my classes and I'm walking and not seeing many of my own kind, like it's an uncomfortability of just how can I talk about these things? Like if we don't see eye to eye, like are you gonna hate me? Am I gonna hate you? Like it's really uncomfortable to talk about things that you don't know how to. You don't know how to interact.
Eugene?
I feel as though if social media plays a big part as far as Trump's campaign, because if you see how he interacted with protesters, trying to kick them out, and everything, just imagine what he would do to us if he really did get elected.
Is that something you feel that should be discussed in the classroom?
Yes, because I believe he plays a big part in the role that will happen if he does get elected. We should know what we're up against if Trump really is elected.
I feel as if it all comes down to the racial issue. What we are learning in school is due to where the schools are located. If the schools are located in suburban areas compared to, for example, Riverside High School, where we're located in Riverside, we are labeled, just like races are labeled, we are labeled as a bad school just because of where we are and because of who attends our school. The curriculums are different, whereas though City Honors is at a higher placement than Riverside, they're learning things we're not learning. They're at a level that we're lower than because their curriculum is just, higher than ours, and it's, in a suburban neighborhood, so they're given more opportunities than we are because of where they're located and because of what teachers work there.
I think it's not the schools that matter, because International Prep may not be considered the best school in Buffalo, but I think it's the teacher. Because I think my participating government teacher does an awesome job. He does the job great, the way he's supposed to. He teaches in a way that, we're learning and it's not boring, he doesn't make the subject boring. He puts it in a way where everybody's acting awake and everybody's into the discussion. And we do learn about current events and participating government. That's all we usually do, and everybody loves it. We discuss about the Donald Trump issues, Hillary Clinton, and we I think if I didn't have him as my participating government teacher, I would have not known there was a black guy running for the Republican Party. It's not that I would just wake up any day and just think, oh, let me watch the presidential debate. He makes it so interesting that I want to watch it with my family. I actually go home and tell my mom about it and share it with my family. And it's amazing to have a teacher like him. It's great.
There is some good that is happening in the classrooms, and we know that there is because you all are here. We the city of Buffalo, how many of you all have been impacted by a friend or neighbor or a classmate who has been a victim of violence? Just raise your hand. Raise your hand high. Okay, so that's interesting. With that being the case, we can't escape and not talk about shootings and violence that has happened in the city of Buffalo. How real is it for you? I know for those who raised their hands, it has to be very real. Are you worried about it? Are you concerned that it's happening too much, that something needs to be done? Can the schools do anything? Are you getting grief counseling? I know very often if there's a crime or a student dies in a suburban district, the first thing you hear is that grief counselors will be available Monday morning. Is it happening for you? Are you getting the assistance you need? And how do you feel, and what do you have to say to those who are in charge here listening today?
I feel as though for the violence in the inner city of Buffalo, it's mainly black on black crime, and it's truly sad because we're supposed to be with each other and actually, how will I say, supposed to be uplifting each other. But instead, we're killing each other. It's not right at all. I feel like the teachers or the Board of Education can help it. We have to help it as one, as a community, to stop the violence.
I would like to first say that in my experiences, City Honors has a really good counseling. They really do care about what goes on in your life, and if you're grieving, they will help you. And to touch on what Eugene just said, I agree wholeheartedly that as a community, as a race, African Americans, we need to stop having this violence towards each other, and we need to unite. Like in my school, that I can remember, the only like physical altercations that I have known, like from friends or like in classmates, are between blacks on blacks. That needs to change. That's making us as a race look bad. Like that shouldn't happen.
I also want to touch upon Eugene and Ryan. I feel that most of the violence is black on black crime, and no wonder why other races look at us as a violent race. I feel that us as a community, we need to come together and realize that the violence we have against each other is nonsense.
I feel as though we are all humans, and me being a black African American, I believe that we are more powerful with our words than our violence.
Yes, I was going to say also that the black on black crime also, it's really a result of the government, because the government has control over whether drugs and weapons are allowed into a community. So it's a bigger picture than just this whole government.
Any other comments? So let me ask you this. How can the city make it better for students of color? And I think we want to hear from each and every one of you, and we'll start at the end. We'll start and go down. You can take that way.
I'm sorry, can you repeat your question?
How can we make the city better for students of color?
I would say adding more. That's a hard question. It's just hard.
Think about it, and we'll come back to you. Dilu?
That is a tough question. How can we make this better for African American kids? Is that it?
Speak directly into the mic, because I think we want to hear it.
Okay. All color? Yeah. Okay, yeah. Well, I've never experienced racial segregation. Well, actually I have, but it's not that critical. In school, it's pretty normal. It's pretty equal. You can make it better by teaching your kids that racism is learned. And it's all about equality, what you taught your children and what you saw on social medias, and try to avoid all the racial statements or segregation, discrimination at all time, and that's how we learn to adapt to equality.
Repeat the question, please.
So the question is very simple. How can the city make it better for students of color?
I feel as though if you want to make the city better for students of color, besides us learning about American history, we should actually have textbooks that's based off of African American history, Latin American history, as far as global studies, I know it's global worldwide, we really only learn about what the Americans did to others, as far as the harming them. We don't really know the good about Africa and Europe and places like that. So.
Okay, we'll go back to the end, Shania.
As a community, we can stop labeling each other. We know what our skin color is, we know our nationality, no race is better than the next. So I feel like if we stop labeling each other and stop looking at each other as blacks and whites and Asians and stuff like that, then we can come together as a whole, because I feel like the labels differentiate everyone. So people feel like they're at a higher level and a lower level than each other, but we're not.
We're going to come back down where we stopped. Go ahead. Yes.
I just think educating, I'm going to agree with
Nope, you can look directly at the audience. I want to hear it.
educating basically so that we know more about where we came from, so that we are better able to pass on what we know to others. Because being that we don't know more about our culture and more about Caucasian cultures and history and what they did, I think that knowing where we came from can further what we do and better educate ourselves.
I agree with what Eugene and Naja stated. I feel like we should educate students more about their backgrounds rather than just African Americans and how the whites treated African Americans, because every year we learn about more or less the same thing. We learn about slaves and what they went through and who put them through that, but I always sit in my class and I wonder, where are Hispanics? Where are Chinese people? Where are Korean people? And I'm always dumbfounded at the fact that we learn about the same thing every year, and never once has a culture different than African Americans or white have come up. I haven't heard about it whatsoever. So I am oblivious to what my culture was like back then when all of that was going on. Like, were we slaves too? What was going on? We're not mentioned. You know, I also believe that a way that we can better our community when it comes to race is stop promoting violence. We promote violence as if it's something that we have to do, as if you have to be violent when somebody says something negative to you. You have to be violent.
You're good. Keep going.
Sorry. We feel like we have to be violent when we are called out of our name or, you know, things like that. And that's where we mess up as a community. That's why we are not prospering and we are not joining as one, because we continue to be violent and we continue to promote it, like on social media. I don't know if you guys, you know, everybody's on Facebook, but people are always sharing videos and pictures that do promote violence, and that's honestly where we go wrong.
Ryan?
I just want to say I agree with what everyone said, and that I truly believe that it starts with the teaching, that to make the communities better and Buffalo as a whole better, it starts with teaching what you're taught. Racism is taught. You have to learn to be racist. You don't just wake up one day and just hate a culture or a color. You have to be taught that. And I believe that what we're teaching our students, no matter what the color is, no matter what race you are, that's what they're going to be like, that's what they're going to react to, that's how they're going to act out in life. My mom always taught me that, Ryan, you're an African-American male, but you are still going to do great things, you're still smart, you're still going to achieve great things.
Thinking about this.
Yes, I'm ready now.
Okay.
I believe it goes back to labeling and it goes back to education. It all rounds up to those two groups. As a major, I believe the city can, we students would like to learn more about our race. We would like to learn more about what's going on with Hispanics, what's going on with Koreans, what's going on around the world. Yes, I know the curriculum, there's a curriculum that every teacher has. I believe that, I know they have to follow it, but we don't, we can take the same class every year, or say I'll fill one class or something, and I'll be in the same class. I'm still learning the same thing that I learned last year. I want to learn something new. I want to learn something that I learned in the past. That's the past. I want to learn something that's going on now. What's going on with the economy in Puerto Rico? It's getting bad. That's what I want to learn. I want to learn something that has what happened and it's already fixed. I want to learn something that can be fixed.
So are you saying that sometimes you're hearing the same thing over and over again, year after year, and if that's the case, does that make school boring? Why show up?
It makes it hard. It makes it, students just be like, I'm not going to show up. I already learned the class. Well, I took MPCAT. I'm not. I know many of my friends would go to class and just leave, just because they have already taken through the course.
That's good food for thought, sure, for the district to hear.
I agree with everybody that said about education, but the only thing is, I think when it comes to education, it shouldn't just be the student learning. I think we need to teach our teachers, principals, and the district ourselves. I say that because, me being a Muslim, we take Egypt at the end of the year. Sometimes we have Ramadan where we're fasting all day, we haven't eaten. So it's hard for us to be empty stomach and we have to take this test, which is 3 hours long. And I think that's only because maybe the states are not aware of it, that there's students that have Ramadan that period. Or there's other holidays too. And I realized that the American holidays are noticed. People they know about it. And of course, because this is America, and it's normal for everybody to know about their holidays. But I feel like teachers and the staff, everybody that works in the Buffalo district should learn about every other culture, holidays, because it's important for everybody to be aware of everything that's going on.
I feel as though if you want to better the education for colored students, you have to update them on their race. And I think it'd be way better off.
Okay, we had a couple of hands right there. Just reach it. Yeah.
For students of color, I think that in the curriculum, the school curriculum, African American studies and Latin studies and Hispanic studies, that should already be included in the curriculum. It shouldn't be taught as an elective because that's a part of history. That's not like it's a distinct part of history. History is history. And then also I would say about the concept of African American and Caucasian history, the same thing being taught every year. That is a problem because African Americans they weren't just slaves, or I should say Africans, because they were brought to America, then they became African Americans. They weren't always just slaves. They had kingdoms built in Africa, and they were kings and queens before they were slaves. So that's important because that's true history. That's before the slavery part even came about. So we should be further enlightened about the real history of the world.
I think that us as students, we should learn about minority triumphs and not just the struggles, because that's all that we're taught. We're taught about the poor sides of Africa. We're taught about slavery, what about the good things? No wonder why other races think they're better than the next, because we don't get equal chance to learn about our culture.
We've been talking a lot about what's happening in the classroom and teachers, and so I don't know how many of you all actually want to be teachers or educators or principals. Sometimes it's been said that you need more teachers who look like you all. Do you believe that's the case? And this is not to say that a teacher who doesn't look like you cannot influence you. I am a product of the Buffalo schools, and I know that that's the case. I had awesome teachers who were white, awesome teachers who were black. To this day, when I run into them, I am so grateful and thankful for everything that they did for me and how they taught me and how everything was well-rounded and diverse, at least at that time. So for you all, what would it take for you all to be a teacher or a principal? Is that something you want to do? And do you feel that you need more teachers of color? Go right ahead.
I feel as if I don't agree with that. I don't think that if a teacher looked more like me, I would pay more attention to them. I feel like that is labeling. We shouldn't base whether or not we pay attention to that individual based on whether or not they look like us. We should just, give that respect to pay attention anyways.
And this is what we want. We want the raw, candid discussion. We want to hear what you honestly feel. Eugene?
I honestly feel like it doesn't matter what race the teacher is, as long as they understand the student and they build a relationship with them, it's very easy to learn.
We'll go right here. What is the question? Do you believe that you need more teachers of color, teachers who look like you, and what would it take for you to be a teacher or an administrator in the district? Do you have another comment?
I feel like, seconding what Eugene said, honestly, if they were to build more of a relationship with us and connect with us on another kind of level rather than just student-teacher, high or lower, we would feel more comfortable with them. Because as of now, some teachers make you feel like, all they are is authority. They can't connect with you on that level because of their status. And that is something that causes me to, not really want to connect with them on any other kind of level.
Right? And then from Ryan, we'll go straight down to you.
Me personally, throughout my years through 5th to senior year now at City Honors, I've only been taught a course by one African American teacher that looked like me. But I will say that I don't think I would learn better if there were more African American teachers. I don't feel like color or race or they look like you should define how your work ethic in the class. I will say that, going on with what she said, that it's important for teachers to actually care about you, that we're not just another grade to put in your book, that we're not just another check for you to pick up. I feel like teachers should really care about their students, ask them, where do you come from? How's your day going? Just learn about their race, learn about their culture. You don't have to, write a book about them, but at least know, where they come from. And so I think it'll help you teach. I think it'll help teachers teach better because you'll know that kid, you'll know what they're like, their likes, their dislikes, and how to connect with them. Like I said before, it's more about comfortability. You'll be more comfortable with students. They'll be more comfortable with you, and that's effective teaching.
I believe that it comes from the teaching techniques to accommodate to just the students, not just be by the book, because we all don't learn by the book. We learn in other ways, and to give multiple ways on how to learn and how to do something would be better to fit students and not just by the book, because you can only go by curriculum. So by the book, this is how that's how it's going to be, and not all of us learn like that. I think that different teaching techniques to benefit the student would be better.
I was going to say the race of the teacher doesn't matter. The student should automatically be ready to learn. But if you do have more teachers of color, a student of color would be able better relate to that teacher, because a teacher from the suburbs will not completely understand the struggle of an inner city kid. That's just impossible. You can attempt to, but you wouldn't fully understand it. So you would have that connection if you did have more teachers of color, and it would be more uplifting. But the race of a teacher, the color of their skin, shouldn't affect the way a student learns. But it would make it more comfortable, definitely.
So we'll use Eric's microphone for people and use that one to move down. Maybe we'll just have
I wouldn't want to be a teacher. It's a tough job. But I'm very, very grateful for what they taught me for my high school years. It's great. I don't think it matters about the race. I don't think it would matter if the teacher is like you. Because at the end of the day, they're still teaching the same curriculum, what they were given. And they can't be taught any other things because, like Common Core, they have to teach Common Core. They can't teach the specific subject that they want to teach. So they were given this curriculum to teach, and I don't think it matters about the race of the teachers. And I agree that it would make a better connection with the students, but it wouldn't make a difference of their teaching.
Is your mic on? Maybe we could just have someone come up and check.
Yeah, I agree with B. I wouldn't want to be a teacher either because it's a lot of pressure, and I'm very grateful for them. But personally, I don't think that having a teacher that looks like me would benefit me because I'm going to do whatever given to me. But other students, they may make them feel more comfortable, and having a good student-teacher relationship could be a good outcome for the teacher and the student because students will want to come to classes, want to learn, and it might actually be good because having a teacher who knows you and understands you and is just like you will be good for the student as well.
I believe the connection with the teacher is the most important. It's like the biggest key because without the connection, you don't know what's going on with the student. You don't know their background. You don't know where they're coming from. You don't know their learning habits. Without that connection, it's just a plain student. You don't know anything but their name. It's like I'm just meeting you one time, and I'll remember your name, but don't know nothing else about you.
That's interesting. So if you were, since you all are students, if you had to hire a teacher right now to teach in your individual schools, besides that teacher being history, science, or math, what quality would you want that teacher to have so that they could connect and relate to the students? And we'll start at the end. So you want to start?
The quality that the teacher would have would be more of an outspoken teacher. Like, us students are more outspoken than you would ever imagine. Like, there's many things that we would like to say, but we can't say. Like, many teachers don't understand the habits or I would say, the way of thinking that we have. I would like the teacher to be more like us in a young way, but then also teach you the curriculum in another.
So if a teacher happened to look on your Twitter account or your Facebook account, they'll know how you're thinking. That's what you're saying?
No.
Okay. Is the mic on? Make sure that, if not, then we're going to have to pass that. And we can have someone just come up and check the microphone. I think we have 4 that are not working right now. So do you want to pass this mic down? Then we will pick up from there until they fix that. Deja, you want to just go ahead and answer? Go right ahead. speak. But I think this microphone works, so why don't you get up, come up and speak until we get it fixed. Well, it's okay, the two of you can come at a time, so we can keep going. Now you're in the spotlight.
I don't think the race of a teacher mattered. I think it's the teachers, some teachers, I'm not gonna say all, but some teachers gotta understand that not every student learns the same way. And especially for some students that came from a different country that never just went to school in their country and learned English, for example, like me. I have a hard time learning in some classes because the way the teacher teach. And most of the time, from my understanding, I don't blame the teacher for the way she or he teaches. It's the way they're given a book or a module or what it's called, and they're told to teach us that way. I'm sure a teacher don't wake up and tell themselves, let me give these students a hard time and just teach them this boring stuff, you know? So it's not the teachers. I don't blame the teachers. It's who gives them the things to teach us. And
so what quality do you want to see?
Like I said before, I really would love a teacher like my participating government teacher and also my English 3 teachers. They're teachers that tries to understand that we don't all learn the same way. So they teach us step by step and try to understand that it's not easy for everybody, and they stay after school and give us all the help they can. I think those kind of teachers are the teachers for me.
Thank you. You might, since you're here.
Okay, I think that qualities that I want to have in a teacher, a nice smile and welcoming, because I don't like teachers who are just mean and just have a straight face. That's not welcoming. I would want them to be understanding, and going back to what Khadija said, understanding certain backgrounds and what students are going through, because sometimes students may not feel be in the need to, not the need, but they might feel down and be understanding what they're going through. They might not be interested in what's going on in the classroom. They might have needed a moment to sit back and relax and keep calm to themselves because they have personal problems to go through. I know certain teachers that's okay, we have to have this deadline for this because I'm supposed to be teaching this by this date. I feel like I need a teacher who's willing to stretch the rules a little bit, who's willing to, if students need time, then take that time for the students, because sometimes rushing is not the answer because you're not going to get the best results.
So we will pick up.
Most of the time, I don't think you should blame the teacher because the teacher has to follow the correct curriculum that they're given by the board. But if I have to choose a teacher to be my perfect teacher, I would say I kind of want understanding, down to earth, that will actually talk to you and sometimes not follow the book, actually better understand. I have had teachers in the past that we would just watch videos about the curriculum and individually talk about it, and I learned 100% way better than just reading a book and doing questions because we were really talking and really understanding it. So that would be my perfect teacher.
Did we get everyone's response on that question about what quality?
The quality for my school, personally, I would say maybe on the younger side, so they'll be up to date with how kids are, and actually like children, that I think is the most important thing. Because I've had some teachers that I can just tell just do not like kids and why are you teaching? But so younger and actually like children.
I would say someone who's devoted to their job. Someone's devoted to helping and benefiting children or students to become something better in life. Not someone who I have a bad day, or if you don't feel like teaching, I'm going to get paid regardless. So it's well, we still want to learn, but since you don't want to, I guess we'll just find another way.
So before we move on to Amir, if you all have any questions, if you could write them on cards, someone will come down the aisle and pick them up because we're going to go until 11 and we want to get your card. So you're raising your hands now, so someone will come and pick those up. We'll pick back up with you.
Cards should be
Cards are in your folders, and some people already have filled them out. So we'll try and get as many in as we can. Amir, picking up with you.
I think a teacher should have the quality of being honest, because once a teacher is honest, I think everything else falls into place. And you do have some honest teachers in the Buffalo Public School District. And also I would say a teacher that is not afraid to talk about current social and political issues.
And I think we pick up with Bihu now. It's working.
I would hire a teacher with knowledge, confident, experience, and funny. That way the class will be a little bit more fun. But I mean, knowledge is the first one, so that knowledge is that they can pass the knowledge to the kids. Then they can carry on the knowledge and pass it on from legacy to legacy. And if the teacher is confident, that way he can do his job a little bit more properly and fall into place. And pretty much that's what an experienced teacher would do, unlike the first day teachers.
Okay, and we'll just continue to the end because then we're going to pick up on some of the questions that came from the audience.
I already said my qualities, but it's kind of like off topic, but it's an issue I feel. Teachers always think that students are bad when subs are in the classroom, but half of the time, 9 times out of 10, that sub is not qualified for the subject. They're like, oh, I don't know, that's not what I teach, so I can't tell you. So what do you expect us to do? We can't be on our phones, we're going to talk and chat. We're not going to just sit there and stare at a whiteboard. We need something to do.
Well, thank you for going off topic. Apparently, that needed to be heard. Sweat?
I would go back to what she's saying, subs. I think a sub's there for the students. Yeah, she's there to help out the teacher or just a substitute, just because the teacher's not there. But we would like more substitutes that know the knowledge that we can learn while we're out, while the teacher's out, when we can't get help.
Thank you. So we have a lot of questions from the audience. I don't think we'll get to all of them. So I will ask one, and we can only get 2 comments per question. That way we can try and get through as many as possible. This question, have you been offered any classes in communicating with people from other cultures? Who wants to tackle that? Okay.
I would say no class has gave me the chance to communicate with other cultures. Piggybacking on that, I would say I would like more classes. I would like a subject that would piggyback on me communicating or something with another culture, me getting to know another culture. They'll get to know me.
Thank you. Daria?
We aren't offered the opportunity to take classes that teach us how to interact with other cultures, which is why most of us aren't comfortable with approaching people of other cultures and, befriending them and helping them fit in more because we don't know how to approach them. We don't know how to communicate with them.
Thank you. Khadijah, maybe I'll ask you this question. What have your interactions been with English language learners? Do you feel as students they receive the services they need to do well?
At my school, yes.
Any other comments on that?
What was the question again?
What have your interactions been with English language learners? Do you feel as students they have received services that they need to do well?
I think I took ELL when I was in 7th grade, and it's pretty challenging for me because English is not my first language. I took ESL as well, and I overcome it. And ELL for ELS students, it's patience. You got to be patient with them because it's not their first language. And it's really hard for them to adapt to English, especially English, because it's not an easy language to learn. And with all these idioms and all of these comedy illusion or allegory, it's not easy.
The next question, you all are nearing the end of your pre-college careers. When you were younger, did you feel the same way as you do now? And at what age did you remember beginning to form these opinions? So we'll take a couple of answers on this. All right. Yeah, I think you two are just going to share that mic alongside.
I started to develop awareness of issues as far as race goes when I attended. Before I started Buffalo Public Schools, I actually attended Grand Island Central School District, and that's in a suburban area. And I shifted a lot. So, you know, when I used to go to that school, there wasn't many Hispanics or blacks or, you know, it wasn't very diverse. So I felt like I needed to be like everybody else so that I could fit in. I was never myself. I lived on Grand Island for about 8 years, and for the 8 years that I was there, I was being somebody else because I wasn't really aware of my own culture being in a suburban school. And once I shifted to Buffalo Public Schools, it was different because it was diverse and, you know, I didn't have to pretend to be like everybody else in order to fit in because there was people of my race there, unlike coming from Grand Island where there wasn't, maybe there was like me and like 3 other Hispanics and, you know, 2 other African Americans in the school. So I started at about maybe 5th grade, I started to realize that race was an issue.
I started coming up with all of these problems ever since I moved to Buffalo Public School as well, because I went to Sweet Home mostly all my life. And I feel as though that the curriculum in Buffalo Public School is dumbed down. In Sweet Home, it was like more challenging, and I feel as though it should be more challenging in Buffalo Public Schools as well, because right now it's not. It's not at all.
The next question, if the curriculum was more well-rounded and culturally diverse, do you feel that you would be more inspired to be successful in school and in life, right?
Yes, I do. I feel as though that the curriculum that is taught puts whatever you teach a kid, it brings them to a certain mindset. And in my school, like others around me, they have like an African American elective that they talk about. I don't have that. I have like U.S. history, and we have like maybe 1 or 2 units based on pretty much slavery and civil rights. So me coming out of these classes, me as an African American, becoming a man, my mindset is what have I done to better this country? And I feel as though that we need to talk about what other races, not just African American, Hispanic, Chinese, Japanese, any race, like every race has contributed to America in some way. We're the land of the free, so we should at least talk about how other races besides Caucasians have made America great.
Many schools in Buffalo have been labeled as bad. What makes them bad? Some ideas have been to close schools, change half the teachers. What do you think? We'll take just a couple. Let's see if anybody else has a comment on that. But if not, all right then.
I feel like you shouldn't close schools. Me being a student here, I believe it's 50% of the students and it's maybe about 20% of the teachers. Because some teachers are just in it for a paycheck. They're not in it to really teach you the curriculum or actually get a better understanding of what you're learning. Students, yes, I feel most African American students do act out because they feel like they're not learning, so they act out. That's pretty much it.
Ariana, and then we'll go to another question.
In my opinion, I believe that closing down schools is not the solution. Just because you close down the school and, you know, try to change it up a little bit and give it some years, it won't change anything. It's the students, to be honest. It's the students, it's the teachers. For example, Riverside High School, I don't know if everyone was aware, but we are phasing out. Next year we will not be accepting another freshman class. So it'll be, phased out. And I have heard that it is planned to make it into a charter school in a couple of years. And I feel like I don't agree with that because it's in the same community. You close it down, okay. You make it into a charter school, okay. You're taking out all the bad kids that go there. You're taking in all the good kids. What are you doing with the bad kids? Where are the bad kids going?
Making it into a charter school doesn't it's nothing. Like, nobody's listening to the stories said about charter schools students from charter schools getting kicked out and putting it into a different school. Nobody's seeing stories about charter schools getting into fights in the middle of the streets or charter schools are reckless. You don't hear those stories. You would hear the stories about Riverside getting kicked out or the fights at Riverside, but Riverside's not really a bad school. Riverside, it shouldn't be phased out. There's many smart students, and I believe that it's mostly about the freshmen. Like, many of the middle schoolers don't know what's coming for them. I believe they should be knowing, they should know what's going on. They should know how's going to be, what's coming for them in high school.
I feel that closing schools is not the solution. We need to stop running away from our problems and fix it. Phasing out schools and changing it into charter schools is lessening the kids' education. And you wonder why violence is on the street between black on black crime or violence in communities, because where else are they going to go? You guys are not accepting certain students. You're lessening schools, meaning you're lessening kids' education. You're lessening schools, meaning students are going to start competing for that, and it's going to create violence.
How many of you would say you've had more positive versus negative experiences in the Buffalo schools? Why don't you just raise your hands to answer that? Have you had more positive experiences or more negative experiences? If you had more positive experiences, raise your hand. And negative? There's the answer to that question. Thank you. What do you think why do you think some students don't care about school? Here?
I think some students don't care about school because in the morning when a student walks in, they should be greeted with kindness and care. If they have an instructor or a teacher not care about them, they're not going to care about their work because they're not going to feel like they're good enough. If you constantly embed in a student that they're not going to live up to their full potential or never become successful, then they're not going to believe in themselves, and it all starts with yourself. Once you believe in yourself, you can go miles beyond the earth. And also I would say, in the Buffalo Public School District, you would have teachers often say, I'm going to get paid whether I teach or not, or I don't care as long as I get paid. So that is a big factor. You shouldn't say things like that. You should be careful of what you say and do because it will affect your student.
Thank you. And that's a comment we've heard a couple of times, so that's probably good for everyone here to hear. What role does the family have with your learning? What do you as students bring to the classroom? So what role does the family have in your learning? What role does your family have in your learning? Eugene?
I feel like it depends on the individual because it doesn't matter what school you go to, because Eagle Profile Bend is a lot, and Bend is not a bad school. It's a bunch of kids that actually want to learn. So as far as saying that, you can go anywhere. As long as the student wants to learn and wants to get education, he can learn, he or she can learn wherever and go wherever and be a great person.
Do you think an extended learning day would help?
I do not think an extended learning day would. I think it would just get even worse than what it is now. I think more students would just, students right now aren't even in school. Students right now are just skipping out of classes. I think making it worse for the students would make it worse for the teachers and for the public schools.
Yeah, we need the break. We need the break too.
Do you think that you all have access to all of the courses you need? And would you want to see more arts, music in your schools? Yes, no?
Yes. I would like more arts and music in our school. I would like more activities, more plays, more opportunities on doing those things other than sitting in a classroom. Because just sitting in a classroom gets boring. Like nowadays, students are learning from their phone. About the art and the background music, but we don't have the opportunity on having that.
I would also like to include more arts and music inside of our school because you don't see really that much fights in performing arts or anything like that because they're entertaining. They want to go to school. They have amazing shows, amazing musicals, but here it's like, what's to entertain us? We have school classes, no shows, nothing.
So here's the final question because it's 11 o'clock. Do you feel like you understand where you fit in the 21st century? And did any of your teachers help you get there? And we'll just take a quick 20 seconds from each person. I will wrap it up.
I feel like I get educated from my family, especially my mother, and to be educated almost every day of where I come from, being a Nigerian American, so I get educated from my mother and stuff.
We'll go right down the line, and that way we'll get everybody's final comment.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Do you feel that you understand where you fit in the 21st century, and have any of your teachers helped you to get there?
Yes, I feel like I understand where I fit in the 21st century, and it all starts with my mom first. She has helped that, and then teachers later. The teachers are more of a confirmation, but it started with my mom.
I think I fit in well into the 21st century so far. I don't know what is yet to come, but college is the next step, and I don't know if I'm ready for that yet, though. First of all, it's all about family. My mother was the one who has given me all these opportunities in America, and then I pretty much adapt to it, and I like to thank all my teachers as well, from International School 45, and Lafayette High School also has a middle school from 7th grade to 8th grade, and now I'm in McKinley, and I really appreciate it. Great program, it's a great school.
I don't think it's because of the teachers. I think it's because of my family and my own decisions. And my decisions, I'm a mother, so I think that my role is to do what's right and go to college and continue working myself.
I believe I was helped to get there. The relationships I've had with some teachers in the past have been very good. Like Riverside High School, most of the teachers there would say hi. Most of the teachers would have a good connection with you, and that's what we're looking for. That's what we want.
I don't understand that question so much.
So do you feel, we're in the 21st century, do you feel that you fit in? Are you there? Do you feel part? And if so, have the teachers helped you get there? Have parents helped you get there? Or do you feel you still need to catch up?
I think my mom is the reason why, I worked so hard. Cause I don't think, ever since I've been in high school, I never ever failed a class. And most of my grade, the lowest grade I probably got is an 80. And this is the first time I ever failed a class. And it's so hard for me to even face the fact that I failed. And it's harder to know that I'm failing it, and I don't even know why I'm failing it, because I try so hard, and when I do miss class days from appointments, I try making them work. but the teacher says that it's the way I answer things, and I'm not understanding much of that because I need help, and I feel like I'm not getting enough help, and she doesn't understand that I don't understand the subject. So because of my mom and because I know how happy she'll be to know that I'm the first girl to go to college, and so because of her encouragement, I never give up. Even though I'm failing this class, I still try to do extra work and make sure I graduate.
Very good.
I feel like it starts off with family. My family, is always pushing me to go to school and try harder because us as students, this generation, there aren't many students with their head on their shoulders. So the ones that our parents push us and they ask us, what are your goals? My goals are to be an RN in the future. She is it you that wants to go into psychology and communications and things like that. And I feel like it starts off with family because if you don't have family there to be like, listen, I didn't have the chances you did. I didn't finish school. I didn't have goals set like that. I want you to finish school. I want you to be what I wasn't. I think that helps you a lot. And after family, it goes with, teachers and the staffs at your school. I know at Riverside High School, my principal, Ella Dunn, she tries everything she can to get students to come to school more often because she wants to see us prosper. She wants to see us become what we want to be. And I feel like when you have that connection with the principal and staff, you do it. So you're like, I want to make you proud. I know I want to make my principal just as proud as I would my parents.
I feel like everyone has helped me out along this journey, as far as my family, many of my teachers, God, just everyone, because you can't do it. You cannot do it by yourself. No matter how many people say that they did it on their own, somebody can help you. As far as that, I just like to thank everyone, anybody in the audience that was my future teacher, my past teacher. I appreciate you because you helped me get to where I'm at today. Thank you.
I feel as though I fit in, first because of God and my family and my teachers, my pastor, and it's all because of the words that were spoken to me when I was young and growing up. The tongue can either kill a person or bring it life, and I believe that because of that, because of the words that were spoken to me by the great teachers that I've had that cared enough to encourage me along the way and say I can do it and never give up, Ryan, that I am who I am today. Yes, I feel.
Well, thank you all. Very, very, very good. We should give them a round of applause.
Thank you to our moderator, Ms. Claudine Newell. We told you she did it. Let's give her another round of applause.
Thank you, sir. It was very insightful and something else people should understand. This was totally unscripted. I've never met the students, so just to hear from them, you all have stories to tell. The district needs to tell your stories. Make sure that happens.
Yes, and so now we want to thank you, Ms. Newell. And now we want to thank our students, and we want to give them, they did such an awesome job today. I say out of the mouths of babes. They will tell us the truth, won't they? Let's give them another round of applause. And we're going to take this information and we're going to use it to improve our schools. And we would like a photo with our superintendent and our region. With the region and the board members, please with the students. can we have that photo opportunity at this time? Thank you. It's a little after our lunch hour, so I'm going to have, ladies and gentlemen, can we please welcome our committee of the Culturally Responsive Teaching Committee, our chairwoman, Mrs. Kelly Balgo. I want to thank all our presenters today, our students, and we're going to move into lunch now. Ms. Balgo will give you the logistics of that. Thank you.
Good morning. Just a few logistics. In your folders, before you leave for lunch, you will find a schedule. In this schedule is your session 1 and session 2 for this afternoon. It will have the times that those sessions are on. For almost every person in here, I was able to schedule you for your first 2 choices. We do apologize if you had checked the STEM selection. Dr. Louisa Phelps was not able to be here with us today, so I did schedule you for your 3rd option. If you do not have a second section, please go out to the registration desk and they will get you one. For the 3rd session, that is your team planning, there is a room number on there. Everybody from your building should be assigned to the same room number. And the last piece of logistics I have is as we move to lunch, I'm going to ask everybody to please enter out the front door over here. The elevators to the 4th floor and the staircase to the 4th floor are immediately outside the back side of the stage. So if when you go to exit, if you can please come forward and exit out the side door. The cafeteria is on the 4th floor, so there's the stairs and the elevator, and we'd ask that you're in your 12